All right. Okay. This is going really well, I think. Strong start, confident, professional. A radio station might be in touch. I might go on the show. You never know. So, hi. Hello. Yeah, no, this feels weird. So, hello. I'm back, I think. Kinda. So, yeah. This feels like a sitcom entrance, doesn't it? It just feels like I've walked back into a show I definitely got written out of in 2020. There's no explanation, no context, just, oh, he's here again. Like, no one even questions it. No one's like, didn't he disappear for like 4 years? Nope, just straight back into the episode like I've been here the whole time. So yeah, welcome back to Ramblings with Jay Finlayson, season 2. Eventually, I might not have it as seasons, might have it as, episode by episode. Instead, I might just change it all. I haven't decided yet. Now, I'll tell you what generally confuses me is I still get downloads daily from people around the world, and that which makes no sense because I haven't updated or uploaded anything since man discovered fire. Like, generally, technology has evolved. AI has taken over. We've got robots doing backflips. And somehow, in the middle of all that, people are still listening to me waffle on from 2020. So, for those of you still listening, thank you. Also, why? There's better podcasts. There's podcasts with structure, research, effort, hosts who didn't vanish like a dad going out for milk, and yet you stuck with this. Now, that's either loyalty or concerning, possibly both, and I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it when I came logged in back into my hosting provider and I see people still downloading. Like, how is this still relevant? Now, I'm gonna try to be consistent, a bit more structure, a bit more research, a bit more effort, depending on health, and we'll get into that because that's a fun little subplot. Anyway, and I know I dropped a trailer in April 2020, like I'm back, and then immediately disappeared again. Oops, it's a lot of heavy lifting here. So this is episodes about hi again after 4 years, technically 6 years, but 4 years since dropping a trailer that repurposed sounds from 2020. Also, can we just acknowledge this, that I am not recording on my iPhone anymore? We've evolved, we've grown, we've invested responsibly, we've got a proper microphone headset set up. So this is semi-professional now. Like, if this sounds bad now, it's not the equipment, that's just me. And do you know why I've got all this? Because I invested in it for another podcast called Taking Off Air. Yeah, that kind of like went well. That was me, Kyle, Stefan, and Jordan, friends since nursery, thinking, yeah, we're funny, let's place the internet with this. And what actually became was them just talking to each other while I vanished into work, like I've been drafted into a war, or just Kyle doing it all by himself, talking to himself for like 40 minutes, just, absolute rambling and spreading facts and random things he found in there that he found interesting, which, to be fair, is a strong format, quite niche but strong. And if you ever listened to it and thought, where's Jay working, avoiding responsibilities, and eventually we all just kind of stopped. So it was Took Off Air, funnily enough. No big ending, no final episode, just we're done with this, clearly, with strong branding I have, me and my friends. You remember Cal was in the Star Wars episode last year, not last year, 2020, 6 years ago. So yeah, this is an apology episode, not a serious one. Not I've grown as a person. I'm not sat on the floor in an oversized hoodie with a sad thumbnail like some YouTuber. More just, yeah, I vanished, didn't I? Because I did. So let's go to the awkward elephant in the room. In April 2022, I released a trailer called Season 2 is Coming. It was very dramatic, very confident, and very much a lie. And then nothing. No updates, no posts, just complete radio silence. And honestly, if I was you, I'll be like, this guy's fucking useless, isn't he? And yeah, you'd be absolutely right, But there's some things that happened, you know. So what happened? So I wrote season 2 in 2021, where I was working in Upnux in Glasgow, and I was going to record it all in 2022, but 2022 has been a bit rough. I had a death in the family. I hit hard straight after the Queen died and my grandma died, and like it properly knocked me sideways. And I'm not gonna say that I handle it well, because I don't handle stuff like that. Some people process their emotions. I changed my personality to completely tired and hope no one asks questions. Like the adult I am. So yeah, depression kicked in. Everything stopped, podcast included, and I knew I should come back, but I just didn't have it in me, and kinda didn't have time because my real job is I work in film and TV as a full time career. So if you were waiting, I'm genuinely sorry. And if you forgot this existed and came back, well, honestly, healthiest option. Hi again. I've got time. But before we get to that, let's go through why I didn't continue in 2023. Then in 2023, I can only describe as for freelancers in film and TV is what? What the fuck? On repeat, when life just kept stacking problems. Like you fix one thing and life goes on. Brilliant. Here's 3 more. Enjoy, mate. That was 2023. We had SAG after strikes and everything. I felt like I was trapped in a group chat argument. No one knows what it was about anymore. It was just there. Like, I don't even go there. I'm tired. Let's leave it. So, end of 2023, I lost my contract on a high-end production job for Sony. And I kind of promised my partner that if we ever got to a time of uncertainty, I'll get a real job. I joined the ambulance service. So in 2024, I completely lost the plot. I decided I'm done with film, done, finished, sensible adult now. So naturally, I joined the ambulance service back in 2023 and fully progressed my career in 2024. Because nothing says I want peace like that. Honestly, past me needs quite investigating. At the time, I thought, this will fix everything. It did not fix everything. I didn't, I don't really want to go into much detail about my time working for the Boo Boo Bus. My 4-year-old daughter calls it now, the Boo Boo Bus. But yeah, it changes you. And if you know, you know. But I kind of did a thing in the May 2024, and it's a big plot twist. I got married. So in the midst of the ambulance service in May, I got married. In the middle of all that chaos, someone, my partner I've been with for a wee while now, looked at me like, yeah, you do forever, mate. Unbelievable senses, incredible decision making. I'll say from her, but from me, I'm punching well above my weight. So that's the best part of that entire period between the first several months of 2024. But change kind of hit in April. While I was just working for the ambulance, I kept getting phone calls, and it honestly went like that. Availability, mate. No, I don't work in film anymore. Availability? No, I've changed. I had not changed. Then my wife, it's 2026, and I still find it hard to believe I've got a wife, turned to me during my annual leave period in May, after I got married in May, and was like, you know what, mate, you're quite miserable. Fair enough. And she was like, just go back to what you love. You keep getting calls, just take 1 or 2 jobs during this 2-week annual leave and go back to the ambulance. I was like, fair. So I took 1 job, just 1. That was a complete lie. I ended up, working on I Swear and working back in film and TV. But ayo. So after the 1 job, it progressed to more jobs and more scouting, and I was supposed to go back to the ambulance service, so I had to email HR, and that email was the most British thing I have ever done in my whole entire life. It basically went, "Hi, I hope you're well. Basically, mate, I'm so sorry. I deeply regret existing. I really regret everything. I apologized like I committed a crime, handed the uniform back, and sorry I briefly tried to have, stability." I did a lot of location scouting, and like I said previously, my biggest film job when I got back to the industry, I was the assistant location manager on I Swear, and more projects. I was straight back into the chaos of working freelance in the high-end TV and major studio production industry side of film and TV. It didn't kind of stop until January this year, and this podcast just sat there watching, waiting, judging me. And fair enough, I've kind of forgot it existed until late last year, about August, when I checked, because I was thinking of starting another podcast, and more about that in a little bit. So before you say anything, yes, I can hear it. The breathing. It sounds like I've just ran here. I haven't. I'm sat here still. My body has decided it doesn't like my lungs anymore, which is inconvenient. So now maybe knowing the editing, because I've learned how to edit now, that'll be a bit staggering until I get a bit better. That's just me negotiating my lungs to allow me to breathe. So yeah, my lungs don't like me anymore, and which is inconvenient because I've been quite reliant on them for the past 31 years. A big fan of oxygen, big part of my routine. Now it's just we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to start reducing output. So if it sounds like I'm fighting for my life mid-sentence or I'm choking, I'm not. Well, not actively. I'm just existing aggressively. But it does mean I had to slow down in life, which is why I actually got time now. I've been on the 6th since January this year, indefinitely. So I thought, why not come back? Because I finally have space. I could watch things I want to watch again to enjoy them, and to come back to this, which was always just me chatting nonsense. Honestly, it's quite refreshing that my kids are in school now. I've got time to myself. I've got a lot of things planned for this year, like projects. I still can't pronounce things properly. So yeah, I started a film festival last year. If some of you who know me and do follow me on Instagram, I ran a non-profit called Set Starters that basically helped new entrants into film and TV, because I never had that help when I started in 2015. I had to work it all out for myself, and I wanted to help people get into the dream job and they want it. So we helped people, and we wanted to help independents. And the person who was helping me do all this, he disappeared to Greece for 2 to 3 weeks and left me to my own devices. And I started up a film festival called Fair Screen, and we sold out 10 weeks of planning in October 2025. And we changed it from a film festival just to a launch party. So it's 1 day launch party, and people actually turned up. I never thought people would turn up to that, and it showed us that there's a big landscape for horror in the Teesside area. Originally I didn't want it in Teesside. I wanted close to my local area, which is County Durham. But we ended up in Teesside because we had access to a cinema, and we've got a 2-week festival planned. I would say a 2-week festival. It's like a 2-week, horror event. We've got a lot planned. We're getting funding for that. A lot of it was my own money and Simon's own money. So yeah, I run a film festival now. So if you make horror films and you want to submit, you can go to fairscreen.com and submit your horror film. So I'm not gonna keep pushing that out there, but it's gonna be in all the descriptions to give us a slight follow, please. Have a little look at the little project we're doing. It's the only thing that kept me sane, other than working 12 to 16 hours, neglecting my wife and kids for something that's I'm not getting paid to do. And in my spare time, I'm just watching the films and catching up on things I actually want to watch, rather than watching kid cartoons. Because in 2021, I had a baby called Penelope, and she's obsessed with Paddington Bear and Bluey. So as you can imagine, there was quite an interesting, things on my television. When she grew up, now she's in nursery. She's going to reception in September. This is how I've got time. So yeah, this is where I've been. Grief, chaos, ambulance, marriage, career crisis, poor decision making, podcast abandonment, and respiratory betrayal. And now, I promise you, a proper episode will drop next Friday, July the 10th. Weekly in theory, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's definitely not get ahead of ourselves. So in theory and technicalities, this is season 2. Let's see how this one lasts. Or I last. I abandon this again, or I drop dead. So yeah, hello again. I'll be talking about dinosaurs next time. Like the big professional broadcaster that I am.